Welcome. What is up, Mixer? Welcome to This Week in the Mixer, episode 10, week 8 edition. Just going to get straight to it on my break again, so it's going to be another quick one, hopefully. Want to start off, I've been listening to this podcast. It's like a true crime themed, like documentary style podcast that I've been listening to about Aaron Hernandez and just his whole life through football and how it ultimately ended with that murder. And it's pretty interesting hearing the stories about how this guy was troubled even back in high school. I guess he graduated early so he can go play spring ball at Florida. And Urban Meyer really wanted him to get in there, so he went and spoke with the school principal, got him to graduate in the spring, even though he, or I guess it was late winter. He graduated like in January of his senior year of high school, and so he could play spring ball at Florida. And everybody was saying that he wasn't mature enough, and Urban Meyer said he was gonna like take extra special care of him, make sure that he'll have good mentors around him and such, just so he could get him in there early, and so he could be more involved with the team and be ready for when the regular season started in the fall. And from there, he had problems pretty much right away. I think it was within a few months. He was at a bar as a 17-year-old in Florida, because the football team pretty much runs the state down there. And he got into a fight with, I believe it was the bar owner. TiVo was there randomly, and Hernandez nearly crippled the owner, I guess, and wound up in jail. But all the boosters and Urban Meyer and them kind of got him off without any like severe punishment. The owner didn't even press charges, and he was pretty severely injured. So he got a free pass right away, and then there were just multiple instances throughout his days at Florida that Urban Meyer knew about, and so did a lot of the other school officials, and they did nothing. They didn't really do anything to get him any help. But I guess it's a two-way street. Maybe Hernandez didn't want help. He seemed to enjoy that lifestyle based on what was said in the documentary. Then, of course, he gets drafted by New England. He's from Boston, or maybe he's from Bristol. That's right, he's from Bristol, Connecticut, but the New England area. And so he goes back home with all these shady people that he kind of knew from high school, all these like second-rate drug dealers and just people who, just aren't again to influence, and we pretty much know how the story goes from there. But I guess Belichick knew that he had some problems as well, and at one point, Aaron, what happened was, there was an incident at a nightclub where somebody spilled a drink on him, and the police investigation didn't think anything of it. They're like, oh shit, Aaron Hernandez is there. That's funny. Like, maybe we should investigate him, just like as a joke. But Aaron Hernandez left like an hour before the guy who got the drink spilled on him. What happened to him? Basically, the guy who got his drink spilled on him, afterwards he pulled up to like a stoplight, and then somebody pulled up next to him and did a drive-by shooting and killed him and I believe the passenger in the car. So anyway, so that happened. a few years before the killing that ended up getting Hernandez in trouble, the one where they found the guy, I think, at a quarry or something. I haven't gotten to that part yet in the podcast, so I'm just going off of what I remember. But anyway, once the second killing happened, that's what made the police like realize, oh shit, maybe Hernandez was involved. They rewatched the film, saw something, and they were able to piece together that Hernandez was the one who killed that other guy after the nightclub drink spilling incident. But after that, Hernandez was paranoid that the police were coming after him. He thought everybody was out to get him. Somebody was gonna like turn him in. And so he like requested to be traded to a West Coast team. And Belichick and Kraft said, like, there's no way, we're not going to trade you, basically. Didn't give him any help then either. So, not that it would have made a difference. I mean, he had already murdered somebody. But immediately after, like, the whole story broke, about Hernandez being like wanted for murder, maybe multiple murders. The first thing like Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick did was they tried to cover their ass and said they had no idea, and they tried to paint this picture when in fact they did know a little bit more than they did. And we see this too many times where these coaches, owners, they just get away with shit like that, and they push stuff on the players. I mean, we're just on, or they play the we didn't know excuse line. We saw it sadly with Joe Pa. That story is crazy too. And then we saw it with Urban Meyer and the domestic violence thing with that Ohio State coach. And then finally the Maryland coach who was pushing that crazy like training and like made him watch videos of guys getting like screws driven into their eyeballs or some crazy shit like that to like inspire the team to be like killers. They would have them do it during like team breakfast and stuff. It was just wild, the whole culture that they were trying to create. And then the player on Maryland, if you didn't hear about it, he died of heat stroke at practice, and so they like suspended the coach. They reinstated him. The internet got outraged, of course, and then they fired him the same day as they reinstated him. So I mean, it's just like, what are we doing here? Just because everybody gets outraged, like the facts haven't changed, then you're gonna fire him to cover your ass. It just, I don't know. It looks like a joke. It's time that, I don't know, these football guys change their perception and started practicing the whole team aspect that they preach so much, doing everything for the team. The team's a family. When in reality, they're just selling a bullshit, just like at any other job, to get you to do the most amount of work, getting paid as little as possible. So these are extreme cases, but kind of ties back into the whole like contract holdouts thing we were talking about. I'm done defending owners. I know I kind of defended Dean Spanos during the whole Joey Bosa thing a few years ago, and that's just a joke. These players, they get asked to do so much. They only get a few contracts, and that's it. That's their whole livelihood, basically. So more power to these players that are looking out for themselves. And you got rule number, I think that's going to be rule number 7. We may have to organize the list a little bit here. It's getting a little long. But FCWinemixer Corp, you got to look out for number 1. And if you're dealing, maybe rule number 6 is look out for your partner first, and then you got to look out for number 1 second. I don't know. We're gonna get the logic sorted out. We're gonna have a list. Maybe we'll post it by the end of the year. But that kind of wraps up the intro talk. Let's get straight into the matchups. The whole reason why we're here, right? Got to rush this a little bit. So, week 8. We are halfway done through the season after this. Remember, no week 17 this year, thank God. First off, we have Sean versus Jeff. So, for Jeff's squad, he had Mahomes, McCaffrey, and James Conner. They did their parts. They got combined 88 points. But that was they were the only bright spots on Jeff's team. The rest of his players only managed 29 points. Really hurt him. Mahomes kept his 4-touchdown, 300-plus yards passing line streak alive for the third time. He's done that 3 weeks in a row. Gone for 4 touchdowns, 300-plus yards. He scored 29 points for Jeff. Sean's squad looks like they are back. They are back. Kamara got a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown in his 26-point day, being utilized like he was before Mark Ingram got back. A little lower volume, though. The game puts Sean back into the win column for the first time since he was called a fraud by yours truly after week 4. He moves to 5-3, while Jeff misses a chance at going to 500. He's dropped to 3-5. Next up, we got Zach and Anthony. One of the better games of the week. DeAndre Hopkins on Thursday Night Football got Zach off to a good start. He had that one catch that didn't count, but it was amazing. Too bad you got no points for it. He did get 26 points on the day. On Thursday, 6 receptions, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns. Solid for DeAndre. Todd Gurley for Anthony got off to a rough start of the game, kind of like DeAndre Hopkins did. But Gurley made his weekly 30-point quota. His slash line of 25 rushes, 114 yards, no touchdowns on the ground, 6 receptions, 81 yards, and a touchdown receiving. It's like, I mean, he's like a bigger Marshall Faulk, this guy. He's just and who shows up every day. He's one of the most consistent backs. Gurley's probably the best, the number 1 player in fantasy right now. So Anthony's got to love having him. Major story from this game in Gurley's slash line was he could have walked in for another late touchdown, but he stopped short of the goal line because they wanted to hold the ball so they wouldn't hand the ball back and give, who do they play? Green Bay, the chance to tie it up. So he went down, cost Anthony a potential 6 additional points. So Zach entered on Monday Night Football having a chance. He was down 149-117. He needed some magic from Tom Brady and Josh Gordon. Then there was a whole drama with Gordon saying he was going to sit out or Belichick saying that Gordon was going to sit out the first quarter because of some missed meetings. Now, the conspiracy theorists, remember, we're not conspiracy theorists, we're connect the dot guys. We're saying that Belichick senses a rat somewhere in the coaching organization, so he leaked that to somebody and saw if it made it to Rappaport or Schefter. So that did, and then Gordon ended up playing the first snap, so who knows what's going on there. But anyway, even though he was in there, Brady and Gordon didn't do enough. Anthony shuts the door, saying, "You're just a doorman," dropping Zach 149-139. Anthony wins his 5th straight. Pretty impressive. He's 5-3. Zach drops to the 3-5 pile with Jeff. Next up, Gardellable Point 2 or 2.0 this season. Matt versus Jess. Wasn't a good sign for Jess when Deshaun Watson threw for 5 touchdowns on only about 200 yards passing for Deshaun Watson. 32-point night that started the week off for her lesser half, Matt. OBJ and Russell Wilson both started paying back their draft capital. They both scored for 20 points each. Jess was hurting at running back this week. She had Melvin Gordon on bye. Had Chris Thompson and Alfred Morris slotted in her RB spots. They combined for 5 points. Then Chris Thompson went down with an injury. His day might have been a little bit better, but not what you want out of your running back slots, only 5 points. Lone bright spot for Jess was Adam Thielen. Did it again, 100 plus and a touchdown. 5th straight week he's done that. He's went over 100 in every game this year. 8 straight games, NFL record. Steal of the draft, Adam Thielen. Practice squad guy. Gotta love the story. I think he walked on to college too, so more power to him. Quickly becoming fan favorite of a lot of different people. Excuse me real quick, guys. This game is one to forget for Jess. Matt Avoid's getting pegged this week. Maybe that's his reward, who knows, for winning. Matt's on top now at 4-4 for the season. Jess drops to the 3-5 pile. Danny versus Jake. The bright curse looks like it may have struck again. Jake left Will Fuller on his bench, who had a huge Thursday Night Football game. Ended up not mattering. Danny left Adrian Peterson and Chris Carson on the bench in favor of David Johnson and Mark Ingram. Cost him 22 points. Can't really fault Danny for the starting decisions, but it's got to hurt seeing those points on your bench from those 2 running backs that had big days. Jake's quarterbacks combined for 52 points, while Jameis got benched in favor of Fitzmagic. And that pretty much wraps up that game. Jake takes down Danny 141 to 123. Danny, the long guy, at 2-6. Jake at 500 to 4-4. Next up, we got game of the week. Everybody circled on their calendar when the schedule came out. Me versus Mason. The rivalry supreme. Coincidence that this game coincided with the Clásico, Real Madrid versus Barcelona? I think not. Some of these things are just destiny. From the drop, things were looking good for the game. Kenyon Drake had a big Thursday Night Football game. He got touchdown through the air, touchdown on the ground, despite his low usage. I heard a stat since, I think, week 5, week 4, he's the number 6 running back in PPR leagues. So let's keep that rolling. Definitely need some production from him if my team is going to be relevant in the playoffs, or even to get to the playoffs since everything's so tight. Antonio Brown didn't quite get the 3 touchdown day that I was predicting. He only got 2 and 25 points, but I'll take that. Mason, Stephon Diggs, Mitchell, Trubisky probably had his last good week this week. Spoiler alert. And Luck all went over 20 points and kept the matchup close. Some disappointment for Mason, who started Doug Martin and Alshon Jeffrey. Means that Mason wasn't able to keep pace with the game. The Tiger trio of Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, and Usama combined for 58 points on their own. No thanks to Usama, who got a freaking bagel, but I'll still take it. Suck that Tiger dick, Mason. You're down to 6-2. I'm up to 5-3. Sorry, man. You're aware of the opponent. I respect the hell out of you, but it does feel good beating you. That's it. Those are the Week 8 recaps in the books. Where are you at? Standings are pretty close. Tiebreakers make things interesting. Points scored make things interesting. Nobody's got it locked up. So, Anthony right now looks like he's got the toughest squad, if you ask me. Then you got Mason and Sean right there. Probably a little bit of a power gap down. And then you got like me, Jess, Jake right there. All pretty even teams. And And yeah, Zach, I mean, he's always lurking. His team isn't that much below that tier. Danny, you know, he has that boom bust going on for him. So Jameis getting benched hurts him, but we'll see where that goes. Getting down to it, only what? Let me do the math real quick. 5 regular season weeks left, so you gotta get 3 wins at least to get it on a record. So we'll see where it goes. Week 9, what do we got? I'm taking on Jess. It's gonna be a tough one. I got some bye week hell. I know she's got a little bit of bye week hell too. So we got Sean versus Mason, another good one. Zach versus Danny. Jake versus Matt. Anthony versus Jeff. A lot of evenly matched teams this week. So maybe separation week, we'll call it. Yeah, sure. Why not? Get those clicks. Separation week. We'll check in with Luke Wilson, who had his biggest week of the year so far. 3 catches, 21 yards. He got 5 PPR points. Good job, bro. End zone is coming for you. Hopefully it doesn't come against the Chargers, though. They kind of need that win. We'll check in with the new Dallas Cowboy, Amari Cooper. We'll see what he does in his first game. He's coming off a bye. And hope you stuck around for this long. We may have a huge personal announcement for yours truly. Something life-changing coming up. Who knows? How's that for a teaser? What is it about? Is it about a podcast? Is it about like Twitch streaming? Is it about something personal? Is it about job opportunities? Who knows? That's your teaser. Maybe next week, maybe the week after. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, guys gotta stick around for that one. I know not everybody watches this video, but if you watch this, get the hype going. Get your predictions going. Maybe there'll be water bets on it. Huge personal announcement coming up, guys. But yeah, that's it for week 8. I gotta get back. Thanks for watching. Good luck in week 9. See you guys next week. Later.